If you are someone who enjoys history, whether it's local or otherwise, the perfect place to learn it is the barber shop. The history you hear there is unfiltered and personal. It's the stuff you don't read in history books. People have been going to barbers for centuries, but not always just for cutting hair. Many trace it back to medieval times when professional barbers were known as barber surgeons. Their profession involved bloodletting, pulling teeth, setting bones, treating wounds, amputating limbs, lancing boils, and even letting out evil forces by drilling holes in people's heads. Epilepsy and mental illness were thought to be caused by those evil forces. Monks, who had the responsibility to care for the sick, sometimes had a barber provide assistance with bloodletting. It was a common practice for the treatment of wide range of illness, including sore throat and plague. This procedure involves cutting open a vein and allowing the blood to drain. Some monks wore a hairstyle where the crown of their head was shaved, forming a ring of hair. It was the barber who managed this grooming. Because of their skill with sharp instruments, monks would have their barber assist with the bloodletting. In 1163 A.D., Pope Alexander III prohibited monks from bloodletting. The physicians of the day considered it necessary, but thought the job was too menial for them, perhaps because they considered it the same as writing a prescription for aspirin. Monks could no longer do it, and physicians wouldn't do it, but someone had to. As a result, barbers added the procedure to their professional repertoire. In fact, the father of modern-day surgery, Ambrose Paré, in the 16th century, began his career as a barber surgeon. While bloodletting, barber surgeons would have their patients hold on to poles. While grasping the poles, the patient's veins would pop out, obviously making it easier to find them. White cloths would be used to stop the bleeding. Afterwards, the blood-stained cloths would be tied to poles and hung up outside. Even after washing them, some cloths would become permanently stained. It was not uncommon to see a pole with red and white swirling around in the breeze. Since most of the people were illiterate, the barber pole became a way to advertise for their services. A law passed in 1307 A.D. stated, "No barbers shall be so bold or so hardy as to put blood in their window." Thus the creation of the pole. The red signified bloodletting, the white signified the bandages used to wrap the wounds, the blue represented the non-oxygenated blood in the veins. The downward spiral denoted the downward spiral of blood flow in the body. The ball at the top represented the basin used to collect the blood. By the mid-1700s, bloodletting was no longer the norm. The barber pole had evolved into solely meaning grooming services. Today, there is some conversation about the barber pole colors. It sort of depends on where in the world you're using the barber's services. For instance, in much of Europe, the barber pole is typically only red and white. The white is symbolic of the bandages used to stem the blood, and the red represents the blood. However, in the United States, the conversation is a little different. Many believe the barber pole has a patriotic theme to it. The red, white, and blue color scheme is widely seen as a tribute to the American flag. Imagine the history your barber's pole could tell.